everybody, I'm here with my son James. I'm going to teach you how to put the perfect grill marks on some steak. All right, we got some New York strips. You can see them here next to the grill, right? They've been salted for 5 hours. It's a little onion powder, garlic powder, salt, pepper, and we got some french fries going on the grill already, right? So the key is you want to make sure the grill gets nice and hot, right? And it's real simple, actually. When you put the steak on, you just angle it, right? So these are New York strips. We're going to put the bone going the same direction, right? So you see how it's nice, slightly angled? Slightly angled. All right, James. James is going to do the rest of them now. All right? Go ahead. Pick that bad boy up.
You got it halfway up the steps.
All right, you want to match?
Put it right here.
That's fine. He's got the bone going the same way. Slightly angled. All right, go ahead, James.
Hey, sit down, honey, please. I'm afraid you're going to fall.
Yeah, that's fine, just like that. Perfect.
You fall. It's a long way to
Slightly angled. That's a little too much of an angle there. That's too straight. You want to go crisscross like that, okay? All right, one more piece. We'll put it over next to it, right there. All right.
Aren't those mount shed heads?
Say he's getting it. All right. Good. Now we got to put it on the grill. Let's pull it off the grill a little bit. Slide it on like that, okay? All right, couple minutes, and we'll come back and rotate them so we get the nice grill marks. I don't know. Is this thing recording? I can't tell. Yeah, I think so. All right. I think it's got it. Yeah, there it is. I think I got it going. All right. Fantastic. How's everybody doing? Hope you guys are having a wonderful day at school. Just kind of hanging out in my office, trying to do the video here for you. I got some special clips from you. You saw the steaks from yesterday. Oh, they were so good. They were so good this weekend. While I'm here, shameless pitch for the hiking camp, right? If everybody wants to come on the hiking camp, still got a couple spots. There's 22 people signed up, right? It's a great time, something to do in the summer. 4 days, explore and get yourself out there. So we're going to look at section 46, 50 today. Section 50, 51, 52. This first story is called Zaccheaus and the tax collector. I love this story, right? This story is like, as a young buck, it's so funny, right? Like, who does this, right? I love climbing trees, and that's why I love this story, right? So as a young man. So let's go ahead and look at this, section 50, right? It says, Jesus came to Jericho, and there's a man named Zaccheaus, right? So let's see if we can highlight that. How do I want? There we go. I need to click on this, right? Yellow. Right, Zaccheaus. There we go. Look at that, right? And what was he? He was the chief tax collector. So remember what we know about the tax collectors. Nobody liked them, right? Because they would steal from the people and use that money for themselves. And so you've got Zaccheaus being a guy that he's in charge of the other tax collectors. So people hate him more than the other tax collectors, right? But he wants to see Jesus, right? And so when Jesus comes, right, he wants to see Jesus. But it says, but he could not see him because of the crowd, for he was short in stature. What a detail, Luke. I love that you tell us this detail in your gospel, right? And so what does he do? He says he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore tree. I have a sycamore tree in my backyard. Beautiful type of tree, right? He climbs a sycamore tree. I'll highlight climbed as well. In order to see Jesus, right? Who was about to pass their way. When he reached the place, Jesus looked up and said to him, Zaccheaus, come down quickly, for today I must stay at your house. When he came down quickly and received him with joy. When they all saw this, he began to grumble, saying, he has gone to stay at the house of a sinner. But Zaccheaus stood there and said to the Lord, behold, half of my possessions, Lord, I shall give to the poor. Oh boy, that was not what I wanted to highlight. How do I undo that? Let's see. Undo. There we go. Right. Behold, half of my possessions, right, Lord, I shall give to the poor. And if I have restored anything from anyone, I will repay it 4 times. Right. This is a remarkable change, right? Zaccheaus is this guy that has stolen from so many people, right? And we talked about this before. Right, about how we need to have generous hearts. And so here Jesus is going to call Zaccheaus through this personal interaction. Simply by Zaccheaus, right, wanting to see Jesus, Jesus is going to take that and run with it. Think about it, right? Why would a grown man climb a tree? Right? Like, could you imagine that scenario where somebody is very important, you want to catch a sight of, so you climb a tree? Like, I used to love climbing trees as a young kid, as a young buck in the backyard, but I don't climb trees anymore. My kids climb trees, right? But here's a grown man who is wealthy, and he will do anything in order to see Jesus, right? Even climb a tree, something that would have been shameful for him. I think that's important. right? That he climbs this tree. What a crazy detail, right? And so Zaccheaus is going to promise to make a full-fold restitution. Great story. Way to go, Zaccheaus. Right, next story, a woman caught in adultery. This is a crazy story. It says, while Jesus went to the Mount of Olives, early in the morning he arrived again in the temple area, and all the people started coming to him, and he sat down and taught them. Then the scribes and the Pharisees brought a woman who had been caught in the act of adultery. Right, just highlight that. A woman caught in the act of adultery. What an embarrassing moment for this woman, right? For her personal life to be spewed all over the place, right? Everyone knowing this woman, like, oh my goodness, what an embarrassing thing, right? And they say to him, teacher, this woman was caught in the very act of adultery. Now, in the law of Moses, Moses commanded us to stone such women. What do you say? Right? You can highlight that, right? Highlight that. What do you say? Right? This is like a trap, right? Once again, this is a trap. We've seen this many times before, right? It says they said this to test him so that they could have some charge to bring against Jesus, right? You see, because if he says, yes, stone her to death, well, now all of a sudden, he is going against the Romans because the Romans don't let anybody put anybody to death except for themselves. If he says, no, you can't stone her to death, well, now all of a sudden, he is making himself greater than Moses, and he's going against the law. And that becomes a problem as well, right? And so it says this line, it says, Jesus bent down and began to write on the ground with his finger, right? Right, you look over here. Right, I love this. Right, tradition tells us that Jesus could be writing the sins of the Pharisees. Right, so he sits down on the ground and he starts writing down with his finger on the ground all the sins of the men that are here to accuse this woman. What a line! What a line! Right, and so they ask him again. Right, they continue to ask him, and he straightened up and he says to them, "Let the one among you who is without sin be the first to throw the stone at her." Wow. There's the wisdom, right? Yeah, I'm not going to go against Moses, right? She's committed a sin, but I'm not going to have this woman killed either. And so the one person among you who has no sin, then you can go ahead and throw that stone, right? And I love the response. It says here in John's Gospel, it says, and in response, they went away one by one, beginning with the elders. And he was left alone with the woman. Then he straightened up and said to her, "Woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you?" And she said, "No one, Lord." And then Jesus said, "Neither do I condemn you. Go from now on and sin no more." Like, that is a huge part of this woman. I want you to write this note down. Let's see if we can get this note. Here we go. Add a note here, right? That Jesus is going to forgive the woman, but calls her to a life of repentance and to change her ways, right? I mean, that's so key here, guys, right? He says to this woman, "I forgive you, but go and sin no more." He doesn't say to her, "You know what, I forgive you, keep doing what you want. Those guys are crazy, they're judgmental, right? They're old, right? They don't understand the new ways." No, he says, "Go and sin no more." All right? All right, so let's highlight a few things here in the commentary about Zaccheaus, right? That he is willing to do anything to see Jesus, even climb a tree. Right, Zaccheaus makes a complete conversion here when he is willing to pay, right, fourfold, which was the law, right, from Exodus, right, for restitution. All right, and notice here that the Pharisees are not seeking legal advice from Jesus here; they're seeking to trap him. All right, so you can highlight that as well. All right, very good. Any questions? Well, you guys can't ask any questions. All right, let's check on those steaks. All right, everybody, so we got our steaks, right? It's been about 3 minutes. Steaks are getting slightly brown on top, right? French fries are looking good, done too. All we're going to do to make the perfect grill marks is just turn it ever so slightly. So it's going this way, and pick it up, throw it the other way. All right, throw it the other way. See? That's going the opposite direction. Was that way?
Yeah.
That way, sorry. Doing this backwards, see? Slide it the other way, that's it. Slide it the other way. All right?
And
So now the steaks are going the other way. Right, we did it right. We'll mix the french fries in there. So let's keep going. All right.
so long for now. See you next time on the Moran channel.
The steaks are looking good. We'll see the X marks in a little bit, right? The parable of the Good Shepherd. This is one that is known very well. Where Jesus, though, is going to be used as image of shepherdry, right? Where we talk about the sheep know my voice, right? So here it goes. Verse 7. It says, Jesus says, Amen, I say to you, I am the gate for the sheep. All who come before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not listen to them, right? So just highlight that again. Let's see if we can get our highlight thing here. I am the gate for the sheep, right? Oh, that's not highlighting. Hold on. There we go. Yellow. Very good. All who came before me were sheep and robbers, right? Whoever enters through me will be saved, and whoever will come in and go out and find pasture. A thief comes only to steal and to destroy. I came so they might have life and have it abundantly. I am the good shepherd. Right? This is a good. Oh, sorry, I don't want to highlight that part. My mistake. Let's go one more line. Right? I am the good shepherd. A good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. Right? So there's a few images that Jesus is using here. First of all, I am the gate for the sheep. So I want you to picture a sheepfold. So a round circle with a fence, and where the gate, where all the sheep would go into, there wasn't actually like a turning gate where the shepherd would open and close. Rather, the shepherd would put all the sheep into the fold and then lay down in front of the gate, so that if any sheep wanted to get out, they'd have to climb over the shepherd. The shepherd would wake up and put them in. Right? So notice it says, I am the gate for the sheep. Right? Anyone who wants to get a hold of the sheep have to go through Jesus. Right? And I am a good shepherd who is willing to lay down my life for the sheep. Right? A hired man is not interested in laying down his life for the sheep. When they see a wolf coming, they're like, peace, I'm out of here. I'm only getting paid $10 an hour. It's not worth my life to save the sheep from this wolf. But if they're my sheep, if I'm the owner, if I'm a good shepherd, I am going to do whatever I can, right, to work to protect these sheep, right? He says, "This is I am the good shepherd, and I know mine, and mine know me," right? That people that know Jesus, right, are looking to follow him, right? They know my voice. There is one flock. There is one shepherd. All right. This is important, right? That Jesus is the good shepherd who cares for and protects his sheep. Right? Verse 17, right? This is why the Father loves me, because I laid down my life in order to take it up again. So I just highlight that. Oops. Right? In order to take it up again. This is a prediction, folks. Right? We can add the note, a prediction of the passion and resurrection of Jesus. All right. All right. So we use that little shepherding language. Not too much really going on in this section. All right. There you go. A direct reference to the resurrection. All right. Once again, not much going on in that section. All right. Let's take a look at the steaks. All right. Another couple minutes. Time to rotate the steaks. All right. So now to really get the perfect grill box, you just flip them over. Same type of thing. All right. Just kind of flip them. X-shaped marks. Right. Little X's on there. Right. Stir the French fries. All right, folks, and we're ready to go. I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Section 52, the raising of Lazarus from the dead. This story is unbelievable, right? So it says a man was ill. His name was Lazarus from Bethany, right? The village of Mary and her sister Martha, right? So just highlight for me Lazarus, right? We'll add the note that this is the brother, right? The brother of Martha and Mary. We saw them already earlier, guys, right? We saw Martha and Mary having that kind of spat between the two of them, about who's serving, who's running around, right? We saw Martha and Mary already. And notice it says that the sisters send word to Jesus that the one you love is ill, right? Jesus is good friends with Martha, Mary, and Lazarus. And so they send word to Jesus saying, please come and help. Right? And Jesus heard this and says, this illness is not to end in death, but is for the glory of God, and the Son of God may be glorified through it. All right? And then it says, verse 5, now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. So when he heard that he was ill, he remained for 2 days in the place where he was. How does that make sense? How can you balance one? He loves them, but when he hears that they need help, he delays. Like, that doesn't make any sense, right? Like, why would he delay? Right? Because once again, he knows what he's going to do for Lazarus. He knows, right, that this is not going to end in death, like perpetual death, but that this is going to end ultimately in the resurrection of Lazarus from the dead. So notice down here on the left, it says Jesus is going to allow Martha and Mary to suffer to show how strong their faith is in Jesus. Right? Very good. So it says that in the next line, right, if we go to the next page, right, he says in verse 11, our friend Lazarus is asleep, but I'm going to wake him up. So the disciples said to Master, if he's asleep, he will be saved. But Jesus was talking about his death. Well, they thought he meant ordinary sleep. So Jesus said to them clearly, Lazarus has died, and I am glad for you that I was not there, that you may believe. Let us go. Right? Once again, like, Jesus, like, I'm glad that I wasn't there. Right? Because if I had been there before he died, I would have healed him. Now that he's died, let's go. So think about it. They are a 2 days journey away. Right? And so it says in verse 17, when Jesus arrived, he found that Lazarus had already been in the tomb for 4 days. Like, this is insane. Laptop apparently ran out of space in the middle of the video. So we're here in verse 35, right? Shortest verse in the entire scripture. It says, Jesus wept. Why is he crying? Right? He's recognized that his friends, Martha and Mary, are suffering. And when you have compassion on somebody, it means you suffer with them. So even though he knows what he's about to do, he is going to cry. Right? And so it says, Jesus, perturbed again, came to the tomb. It was a cave and a stone lay across it. And Jesus said, take away the stone. So highlight that again there, folks. Take away the stone. It says, Martha, the dead man's sister, said, Lord, by now there will be a stench. Right? And he says to her, did I not tell you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God? So they took away the stone, and Jesus raised his eyes and said, Father, I thank you for hearing me. I know that you always hear me, but because of the crowd here, I have said this, that they may believe that you sent me. And then he said, when he had said this, he cried out in a loud voice, Lazarus, come out. The dead man came out, tied hand and foot with burial cloths, and his face was wrapped in the clothing. Jesus said to him, untie him and let him go. Right? And so Lazarus comes out. Now, what happens? Right? As a result of this, the Sanhedrin, they don't like this. Right? They do not like this at all. Right? They say to themselves, what are we going to do? This man is performing many signs. And if we leave him alone, all will believe in him. And the Romans will come and take away both our land and our nations. But one of them, Caiaphas, right, who is the high priest, so highlight that once again, right, said to them, you know nothing, nor do you consider that it is better for you that one man should die instead of the people, so that the whole nation may not perish. Right? He did not say this on his own, but since he was high priest that year, he prophesied that Jesus was going to die for the nations, and not only for the nation, but also to gather into the dispersed children of God. So that from that day on, they planned to kill him. Right? Jesus no longer will walk around in public among the Jews, but he left for the region near the desert to a town called Ephraim, and there he remained with his disciples. Right? You see, Jesus here is not going to make a lot of friends amongst the ruling class. Right? The resurrection of Lazarus from the dead is a problem for the Jewish establishment, for those in power. And so as a result, they are going to find a way to kill him. Right, this is where we will enter in, with Palm Sunday starting tomorrow. All right, folks. I hope you guys have a wonderful day at school. All right, let's take a look at how those finished steaks came out. I'll tell you, they were delicious. So good, so good. All right, everybody. Moran out. Some call me Sam. Some call me Sam. Some call me